It is my distinct pleasure to introduce our speaker for today. Our presenter, Dr. Michelle Outlaw, is affectionately known as Dr. Finance. She is a respected financial executive, a strategist, educator, and author with decades of leadership experience in the financial services industry. What sets Michelle apart is her unique ability to blend financial expertise with real life psychology. She understands that money is not just about numbers, but about habits, behaviors, emotions, and our lived experiences. Through her engaging and relatable style, she challenges common assumptions about wealth, income, and success, helping audiences see money in a new and transformative. Today, Michelle will share insights from her signature presentation, My Money Has a Mind of Its Own. Welcome, Michelle Outlaw.
Good morning, everyone. My money has a mind of its own. Let me tell you something. My bank account and we are not on speaking terms. I check my bank balance the same way I check my medical test result. I don't just open the app. I have to brace myself. I have to breathe. I have to prepare myself emotionally, spiritually, and sometimes with a prayer circle. I open the app, I pause, I squint, and every time I look at my bank account, it says the same thing. You already know. So, what's going on? Is it that I'm a bad person? No. Is it that I lack intelligence? No. Is it that some people have it all together and the rest of us are just a mess? That is what I want to talk about today. Because I have been diagnosed with something. It is called silly spending syndrome. Yes, that is the official Dr. Finance term. It's not poor character. It is not laziness. It is not even ignorance. It is autopilot spending, decisions made without awareness. It's like driving a car while distracted. And when you come to your senses, you're out of gas, you're on a road you don't recognize, and with no idea how you got there. Silly spending syndrome is spending that feels reflective, emotional, not fully thought out, and leaves you saying, what did I do? Or why did I do that? It is not impulsive. It's unaware. It's habitual. And it doesn't destroy your finances suddenly. It destroys them slowly. See, I don't have a spending problem. I have my money has a mind of its own problem. My money acts rebellious. It never stays where I put it. It hangs out with the wrong crowd. Amazon, Best Buy, DoorDash, and it comes home late with nothing to show for it. I say, where's all my money? And my money says, first of all, mind your business. Oh, on payday, I am rich. On payday, I walk differently. I talk differently. I tip differently. By Thursday, I'm a historian. I'm like, back in the day, I had money. I don't even check my bank account anymore because I can feel it in my spirit. My spirit be like, don't open that app. Who are you talking to? So clap with me if you've ever been afraid to open up your banking app. Clap with me if your money disappears like it owes you money. Clap with me if you say, I am not broke. I'm just in between blessings. Now let's shift gears. I am Dr. Finance. I have run financial institutions. I have reviewed thousands of financial lives. And I need to tell you something that may surprise you. Some of the most stressed people I've ever met were not poor. They were well paid and well trapped. Let me explain what well trapped means. I sat across the desk from people making six figures, driving beautiful cars, living in beautiful homes, and were one flat tire, one medical bill, or one job interruption away from panic. On paper, they looked successful. In real life, they were exhausted. Some people believe that financial problems only happen to low earners. Because the saying is, surely, if you make a lot of money, you don't have money problems, right? Wrong. You can be well paid and financially trapped. Here's how it works. You get a raise. You don't even celebrate. Your lifestyle just quietly upgrades. A nicer place, a nicer car, nicer everything. And now you need that same income just to stand still. That is not success. That is a gilded treadmill. You're running, but you are going nowhere. That's when you earn a lot, but your money doesn't stay with you. You don't feel wealthy. You don't have choices. You have stress. High income does not automatically produce high wealth. Jay-Z said it best, more money, more problems. Because money does not fix psychology, it amplifies it. Because the psychology of spending scales with income. You buy bigger things. You justify bigger things. You feel richer, but you're often no freer financially. We get caught up in keeping up with appearances. Some people spend not to live, but to look like they're living. Same designer bags, same workout class, same dinners, same social symbols, not because it brings them joy, but because perception feels like value. But perception is a tax you pay on your soul. Perception is a tax you pay on your soul. That's a tax your budget cannot afford. If you have had stress before, you will have stress with better furniture. If you had insecurity before, you'll have insecurity with better shoes. If you had comparison issues before, you'll compare with a higher price point. I've seen people who can't miss one paycheck, can't afford one emergency, can't take a real break, but they look amazing on Amazon. That's not wealth, that's performance. And performance is exhausting. So let me say this gently. If your lifestyle requires your full income to survive, you are not wealthy. You are fragile. Wealth is not what you drive, it is what you can handle. Wealth is margin. And here's the sad part, not because we are irresponsible, not because we are careless, but because nobody ever taught how money actually behaves. They would always say, I don't know where it went. And one day it hit me. Your money does not disappear. It gets assigned by your habit. And then I had a terrifying realization. I was looking at me, even with all of my knowledge, with all of my experience. If I didn't tell my money what to do, it would absolutely freestyle. And it will not freestyle in my favor. Because some people have a PhD in earning and a GED in keeping. It's not about how much you make, it's about how long it stays. Now, let me deepen this a little, because everything we've talked about thus far points to one uncomfortable truth. Money is not a math problem, it is a behavior problem. There's a book I read called The Psychology of Money, and the entire book is built on this idea. Being good with money has little to do with how smart you are and everything to do with how you behave. Here's the story of two men. One, a janitor, a gas station attendant, no fancy education, no high paying job. When he died, people discovered he had accumulated over $8 million, not because he was brilliant, but because he lived below his means, avoided debt, invested consistently, and he did not let his emotions run his money. But then there is the Harvard educated man, Wall Street executive, extremely smart, big house, big lifestyle, big reputation. And he went bankrupt, not because he did not understand money, but because his behavior changed when his lifestyle and his ego changed. Let me say this slowly. One man was quiet, patient, and wealthy. One man was impressive, flashy, and broke. Same country, same economy, same opportunities, different behavior. Another lesson from the book is that two people can experience the same financial event and learn completely different lessons. If you grew up with instability, you might treat money like, I must spend it before it disappears. If you grew up with stability, you might treat money like, I can let this grow slowly. Same money, different emotional wiring. That's why some of us avoid looking at numbers. We spend to feel safe, and we spend to feel important or normal. Not because we're foolish, but because money is tied to our history, our fears, our pride, and our identity. One of the most important ideas in the book is this: the hardest financial skill is getting the goalpost to stop spending. You said you'd be happy when you got to a certain level. You got there. Now happiness costs more. That's the well-trapped life. Another key idea: wealth is what you don't see. It is the savings, the margin, the options, the freedom. Looking rich is loud. Being wealthy is quiet. And that brings us to the next serial and silent killers. Have you ever heard the term death by 1,000 cut? But Dr. Finance discusses death by 1,000 small purchases. Have you ever heard the saying, the sharpest knife causes one wound, 1,000 dull cuts do more damage? One major purchase may not harm you, but 1,000 small purchases will damage you financially. That is your spending. It's not the vacation. It's the daily drip, the $6 cup of coffee, the $15 breakfast, lunch, and dinners, subscriptions you forgot that you signed up for, convenience fees, delivery fees, apps, $1.99 here, $3.50 there, $9.99 somewhere else. And they don't look serious, but they act like a gang. They combine, they coordinate, they execute, and they kill your budget silently. This is the phenomenon of death by 1,000 cuts. Most financial trouble does not come from one bad decision. It comes from a long series of small, cute ones. Small purchases don't look dangerous until they form the gang. So let's turn to our neighbor and say, it wasn't the big purchase. And here's the dangerous part. Because they're small, we don't respect them. It's not Starbucks. It's Starbucks every day. It's the daily leak, and they add up with military precision.
Mute.
Now, because this
Video.
on theory,
Chat.
I want you to give something that actually changes behavior. It's called mindfulness and money. And it's the pause that changes everything. Let's think about the Buddhist peace walk. Imagine the monks walking slowly, completely present. No phone, no chatter, no distractions, just one foot, one breath, one moment. That's mindfulness. And guess what?
Off.
Spending without awareness is the opposite of mindfulness. It's automatic. It's reactive. It's unaware, which is why you buy things and later ask, why did I do that? So let's take a moment in practicing mindfulness for just a moment. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to relax your shoulders. I want you to take one deep breath. Now think of a purchase you made this week that you wish you did not make. Now feel that. Don't judge it. Just feel the impulse that led you to do it. Notice the emotion, the trigger, the urge. This is what mindful walking teaches us. You don't stop impulses with force. You observe impulses with awareness. And when you observe them, you disempower them and you take back control. We don't spend money, we spend emotions. That's what this talk is about. So let's talk about why your wallet hurts, the root cause of financial pain. Because again, the real truth is we don't spend money, we spend emotion. We are the stress spender. Some of us are stressed after a long, hard day, a crazy boss at work. You're tired. Everybody needs something from you. You didn't need that purchase. You needed a rest, but Target was closer. Then we are the bored spender, that unstructured money. You weren't shopping, you were scrolling. And the algorithm said that today is your day to be weak. No assignments, no plan, just hope. If you feel pain every month, if money disappears, if bills shock you, you are not failing. You're being acted upon instead of acting. And then there is the celebration spender, that autopilot spending. Some of us celebrate like we won the lottery. We celebrate just because it's Tuesday. Buying without awareness. And then there is the I deserve it spender, the emotional spender. We buy to soothe ourselves, to distract, or to impress. And some of us say we spend because we are tired of being responsible. We say, I deserve this. And you do. But you also deserve peace. So you can raise your hand if you've ever bought something and you got to the parking lot and said, why did I do that? But the Dr. Finance Clinic is going to give you the diagnosis and the cure. We're going to be very practical. And we're going to tie every prescription to a diagnosis that we just talked about. The pain is in your wallet. The problem is in your system. The diagnosis is silly spending syndrome. The cure is the ABCDs of financial sanity. A, assign every dollar. B, build mindful awareness. C, create safety. D, discipline by design. Prescription 1, give your money assignments. Assign every dollar. Silly spending syndrome began because your money was unassigned. You let it roam, you let it drift. So assign it. Every dollar needs a job, or it will form a gang. You tell your money, you go to rent and mortgage. You go to savings. You go to groceries. And you over there, stop acting brand new. Ask yourself, who got your money last month? Get intention. Give every intention to your dollars and they won't wander. Prescription 2, build mindful awareness. Remember the monks walking? We breathe before we spend. We pause before we click buy. We ask, Do I need this or am I reacting? And if you catch yourself before you spend, you just interrupted the autopilot. And that is huge. I automate my good behavior because I do not trust myself. If willpower worked, nobody would need a New Year's resolution. Prescription 3, create safety. This is your emergency fund. I have a fund called Do Not Touch Unless Jesus Appears, because some of us say the emergency fund is that it was on sale. For some, the emergency fund is Visa. The real emergency money gives you sleep at night peace. An unplanned emergency forces unplanned spending. An unplanned expense creates chaos. A real emergency fund creates peace. Your emergency fund protects you from stressful decisions.
Oh, Lord, this is ridiculous.
Forced credit, reactive panic, and it gives you margin. Not math only, margin. Prescription D, discipline by design. Follow the 24-hour rule. Willpower doesn't scale, systems do. Automate savings, automate bills, automate discipline. You don't hope you remember, you structure it. And if you still want it tomorrow, maybe. If you forgot about it, congratulations. You just saved money. So as we come to a close, I say bring your money home. Let's slow this down. Think about the stress money has caused, the arguments, the anxiety, the decisions you delayed, the sleepless night. Now imagine what changes if the pressure is gone. You don't need more money. You need margin. You need control. You need peace. Your money has had a mind of its own long enough. Now it belongs to you. Tell your money, you work for me. You don't need to chase it. When it tries to sneak out, when it tries to text Amazon at 2 a.m., say stop. I look at it and I say, you live here. You have responsibilities here. You have a future here. Now you have the diagnosis, silly spending syndrome. You know the killers, the autopilot impulse buys, the emotional spending, the appearance pressure. You have the cure, the ABCD of financial sanity. Assign every dollar. Build mindfulness. Create safety. Discipline by design. This is not a lecture. This is liberation. Tonight, don't make a budget. Make a decision. A decision. I want awareness over autopilot spending. I want purpose over reaction. I want freedom, not stress. Your money has had a mind of its own long enough. You need your money to stop acting unsupervised. You need to gain control. You need to tell it to stay at home. and tell your money, I do have a mind of my own. I am on speaking terms. I will not die by 1,000 purchases. I will not spend based on my emotions. And if all else fails, tell them Dr. Finance said, I am in total control and my money does have a mind of its own because I control the mind and I control the money. Because when you have control of your money, you have control of your life. Now, we'll open for Q&A. And I will check the chat. Okay, a question. As your money increases, how do you go about how to properly do taxes without proper mentorship from business standpoint? It is important to keep your personal and your business totally separate. You want to have an LLC or some protection to keep them separate. So let's start there, because oftentimes we commingle the business and the personal. So that's step one. Step two, you want to talk to vendors and you want to try and negotiate your prices. Then, how do you do it without proper mentorship? I would go to a incubator and ask questions, because incubators were created to help people start businesses and get them to a point where they are bankable. Go to your financial institution and sit down with your banker and ask. So you should have a business banker as well as a personal banker. Talk to your business banker about how to do so. And then talk to people and join business groups to understand what they're doing. Another thing that you can do is build an accountability partnership. So set up your board of directors. You can be a solopreneur and have a board of people who have the skill and the knowledge that you need. These are people who are willing to feed information to you. And these are some of the beginning parts of getting that proper mentorship and understanding how you not only have your revenues, but you handle your expenses. Because oftentimes when we talk about what the business is making, the first question I'm going to ask you is this gross income or net income? So ensure that you understand all the components of the income statement, and then you will begin to know where to drop in the numbers so that you know that gross and net are two entirely different things. If that did not answer your question, send me a private chat. I'll be happy to talk with you more about it. Is there any aspect of cultural conditioning or historical development that can account for people's financial habits? Absolutely. Because our foundation begins at home. What are you learning at home about money? Are you being taught how to save? Is there anything to save? Because oftentimes we can't teach what we don't know. And that's why it's great to have a lot of people around who have different expertise to teach you these things. So if you're in an environment where everyone's broke, nobody's talking about how they're going to save, how can they change their condition, then our brains get conditioned to that. Versus if you're in a home where people are saving and people are forward moving and can show you that, then you're going to have a tendency to do more. But again, it's always great to have people around you so that you are exposed to different cultures. And then I believe that's what makes the difference. And again, ask questions. There are people with the answers or think they have the answers who are really willing to help. You just have to tap in and then be open to what they're saying. Let's see. Those are all the questions I have in the, let's see. Okay, I found another one. When do you think it is time to bring in a financial advisor? As a W-2 employee and a 1099 contractor, I want to make sure I am structuring my finances properly. Any advice? Bring in a financial advisor like yesterday. So as soon as you can, get a financial advisor, because you ideally want to have that financial advisor before you even run into issues. So if you don't already have one, I'd advise you to go ahead and get one immediately. How do you assign your money when you are so much in debt? Great question. Great question. What you want to start doing is look at what you're spending every month. I want you to divide those expenses. What is required? What is optional? What is luxury? Oftentimes we don't understand what luxury is. We think luxury is having something lavish, something big. That's not true. Luxury is something you can do without. It's something that pretty much the average person doesn't have access to. So I always use the example. I used to do backpack buddies. And in backpack buddies, we're told do not purchase anything that goes into a microwave, because a microwave is a luxury. I use also as an example, Cold Stone Creamery. When the mortgage debacle took place in 08 and 09, people who used to go in and spend $5 on a cup stopped doing that. They actually went to the grocery store and got the half gallon or a gallon for the same price as they had for 1 or 2 scoops. That half gallon fed the whole family, their treat, because it is a treat. So go to the grocery store. So how can you take your money and stretch your money? So eating in, finding foods that stretch, and begin to lower those optional items. So divide what's required from everything else. Take an assessment. If you have a lot of credit card debts, a lot of installment debts, go sit down with your financial institution, your personal banker, and set up a structuring plan. If you have debts from creditors, trust and believe they don't want to take you to court. They don't want to repossess your car because they don't want to be used car salesmen. They don't want to foreclose on your home. They want the money. So talk to them about a workout plan. And most of the time, they will help you set up a workout plan and lower that debt and have it restructured. And again, if that does not answer your question, feel free to private chat me and I'll be happy to talk further. And I see Karen Moore. I see your hand. Yes, ma'am. Karen, do you have a question? Okay, if you cannot unmute, you can private chat and I'll be looking.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I had put a chat in the chat box and I wasn't sure if you saw it. So I was asking if there's going to be another presentation or anything that someone else can attend who missed this one, because it was such an excellent bit of information.
Thank you so much, Karen. I appreciate that. We have this recorded, so we can make this available. And as always, I am always happy to talk about finance. So if you know people who are interested, just let me know and I'll be happy to hop on the Zoom and have a presentation and answer their questions. I create Zooms for people who ask and tailor it to their needs.
Thank you. I'll let them know.
All right, thank you. Any other questions before we wrap this up? Okay, well, Cindy, I'll turn it back over to you.
Michelle, we appreciate you so much for helping us stop the self-sabotage and create strategies that will help us in our future and our future generations. Because goodness, if I had been taught this as a young child, goodness gracious, where I'd be now. So let's give Dr. Finance another round of applause. She has given us powerful and entertaining exploration of how our financial behaviors are shaped, how small habits create big outcomes, and how mindfulness and intentionality can lead to greater financial freedom. And we all need that because we need peace in this world right now. Thank you so much, Michelle. We will look forward to your next session. And I wish you did a weekly session because I need it. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. Cindy, one thing, my apologies. A question popped in as soon as you started talking. So I don't like to leave people behind. So again, if y'all have questions after this session is over, just feel free to place it in the chat and I'll get back with you. The question is there a formula to pay a home really quickly? That answer depends upon how your mortgage is set up. If you have a fixed rate loan and a fixed period, then yes, you can make an extra payment every year and pay it off quicker. You can also pay a few hundred extra dollars each month to pay it down quicker. If you have an adjustable mortgage, which means it's going to adjust every few years, then that's more challenging. It will lower your payment at the adjustment. It will not cut it down because the contract is for X amount of time. And so therefore, if you pay it down, then when the adjustment period comes, they're just going to adjust the new payment based upon the balance. So I always recommend fixed rate loans if you have a great rate and then a fixed period of time so that you are in control. And then there are programs that you can use. I use a basic amortization table, but there's another program, and I can't think of the name of it right now, that link, but I'll be happy to provide that and give it to Miss Valda. I'm not sure who Galaxy Tab is, but if you let us know who you are and your email address, I'll be happy to email that debt URL to you.
Again, thank you, Michelle. So wonderful. I've never seen so many questions pop up in a chat. And like I said, well, you do a weekly thing and we'll be jumping on it. Thank you again so very much.
The pleasure is all mine. Thank you for having me.